At church gatherings, my Christian spouse concealed extramarital involvements until the pastor uncovered them, utilizing a prayer session as a cover-up. Extremely cunning and evil, you should hit subscribe and share your thoughts. Where do you tune in from today? In the room were 6 individuals, 3 elders of the church, Pastor Vance, my wife Miriam, and myself. Miriam entered with a beaming smile, clutching her Bible, unaware of the commendation she was about to receive for her role in the Women's Retreat Committee. She looked at me in puzzlement as to why I was present, but maintained her sanctimonious demeanor that she had mastered over 10 years. I didn't reciprocate her smile. Instead, I set the iPad on the large oak conference table. Prior to delving into the budget matter, Pastor Vance and I concurred it's crucial to re-examine the footage from the spiritual warfare weekend in Cabo. The revelation caused Miriam's expression to swiftly shift from puzzled to ghostly pale. "Cabo," she murmured, her voice trembling. We were at a retreat center in the mountains." I struck the screen, initiating video playback. It wasn't a blurry cell phone recording, but 4K footage displaying Miriam and the worship leader holding hands, entering a lavish suite at the Breathless Resort in Cabo San Lucas. The elders let out gasps as they watched. With tearful eyes, Miriam begged Pastor Vance, who merely crossed his arms and regarded her with a disapproval that cut sharper than anger. "The reality," I stated, relaxing back into my chair, "that is liberating everyone in this room today is what I have more of in this folder. Prepare for cheating story exposed, raw tales, genuine justice, no sugarcoating." Many of you who haven't subscribed yet seem to be missing out on our daily content. We share tales of individuals who have been deceived, grown wiser, and sought retribution. If you wish to uncover the true resolutions of such scenarios, subscribe immediately and enable notifications. Believe me, you wouldn't want to miss what unfolds next. I am Elias, aged 42, and for the past 15 years I've been a structural engineer. My work revolves around ensuring structures have robust foundations, load-bearing walls can withstand pressure, and they don't crumble under wind. I operate in the realm of physics, absolute truths, and mathematics that doesn't deceive. I applied these same principles to my life, building a career, investing prudently in what I thought was a family. I tied the knot with Miriam 10 years ago. We met in a young adults group. She appeared lively, seemingly devout, and shared my values, or so I believed. I am a man who adheres to conventional principles, valuing provision, protection, and loyalty. I cultivated a prosperous life for us, providing a spacious 5-bedroom house in a secure neighborhood, lavish vehicles, vacations. In exchange, I sought minimal returns such as respect, loyalty, and tranquility at home. For the initial 7 years, our lives were satisfactory, not idyllic but enjoyable. We maintained our routines. I toiled tirelessly, frequently extending my work hours to ensure our future stability. My wife, Miriam, worked part-time as a consultant but dedicated most of her time to volunteering at our large non-denominational church with approximately 3,000 members. However, the alteration was gradual, resembling a hairline fracture in a concrete pillar, initially unnoticeable without examination. It emerged about 18 months ago. Miriam started discussing spiritual exhaustion. She stated that the burdens of the ministry were taking a toll on her. Each month, she required time to rejuvenate. Thus, she began attending these weekend retreats. At first, it was every 3 months, but now it's weekly. They are solely focused on prayer and fasting, Elias explained one evening as she packed a bag. Phones, distractions were absent, only women seeking God. I understood this, being a believer myself. I didn't want to hinder my wife's spiritual journey. I paid the registration fees, gave her a goodbye kiss. At home, I managed household chores, worked on personal projects, yet as an engineer, I observed patterns and data points. An anomaly emerged on a Tuesday in November, the first irregularity that didn't align with the usual trend. I was organizing our tax documents since I oversee our finances, not because I dominate Miriam, but due to my expertise in optimizing deductions and portfolio management. Browsing through the business credit card statements, which included a card given to Miriam for emergency situations, an unexpected gas station charge caught my attention. It wasn't entirely unusual. The claimed retreat location, Mount Zion Lodge, was actually 90 miles north of our city, located in a heavily forested and secluded mountain area. However, the gas station charge was from a station near the airport, which is 20 miles south of our city. A fuel receipt with a time stamp of 4:30 p.m. on Friday suggested she should not have been at the airport if driving north to the mountains, as the retreat supposedly started at 6:00 p.m. I chose to investigate, instead of confronting her emotionally. Weeks later, she announced another retreat for the women's leadership team. I asked about the location casually while chopping vegetables for dinner, and she confirmed it was Mount Zion again. I found it odd that she wouldn't need gas for such a long drive, but didn't press the issue. I monitored her car's location using the app on my phone. To my surprise, the little dot representing her vehicle moved south on I-95 toward the airport for 30 minutes before stopping at the international terminal's long-term parking. She wasn't at a retreat center. She was flying somewhere. I waited until her return on Sunday evening to confront her, and she admitted going to Miami for an intense weekend of prayer and reflection. I searched her purse and found a parking ticket stub from the airport garage, confirming her entry and exit times. I hired a private investigator, Silas, who specializes in corporate espionage and high-asset divorce cases, to find the destination and any companions on her flight. 2 days later, he sent me an email with the information. Miami, Ritz-Carlton South Beach, room 402, registered to a man named Mr. Redacted. I requested additional details about any potential partners she may have been with during her trip. I recognized the name. Caleb Thorne was our church's worship leader, a man around 40, single, adept at guitar playing, often donning tight jeans and frequently emphasizing authenticity. The anger resurfaced, stronger this time. My wife had been carrying on an affair with him, using church funds for it, disguised as cash withdrawals for groceries over several months. I glanced at the report, which contained attached photos. Silas had a contact in Miami who took them. There was Miriam, wearing a bikini, holding a margarita, seated on Caleb's lap by the pool. I closed the laptop, took a deep breath. Instead of confronting her immediately with those pictures or driving to Caleb's house for a physical altercation that was emotion, not strategy. If I confronted her now, she would cry, blame me, and claim I was distant. She would attempt to shift the blame by accusing me of abuse or control to explain her infidelity. She might even try to secure alimony, half the house and half my retirement. No, I sought a total victory. I needed to destroy her credibility so thoroughly that she couldn't claim a penny of what I had built. I also needed Caleb to fall with her. I required Pastor Vance, a good man who believed in marriage sanctity but was equally protective of his pulpit, and had zero tolerance for leaders sleeping with the congregation. However, I couldn't simply present him with photos. I needed to trap them in an unspinnable lie. So I waited. In December, the church arranged a couples retreat for the leadership team in January, and Miriam informed me she wouldn't attend as we were stable, preferring to focus on her women's ministry solo retreat in February instead. Over dinner, I suggested she should go to that solo retreat in February, considering her efforts. She smiled and expressed gratitude for my support of her calling. The dates for the retreat were fixed, February 14th through 16th, which coincided with Valentine's Day. It was audacious. She planned to spend Valentine's Day with her partner while telling me she would be fasting and praying at Sela's lodge. I inquired about Sela's plans, and she revealed they were doing it again on February 14th. I requested videos and audio, preferably legally obtained, to document any potential mockery of the church or myself. Sela agreed, unaware of their destination yet, but confident Miriam would reveal it eventually. She abandoned her unlocked iPad on the kitchen counter as she retrieved the mail. I accessed her email account. A reservation confirmation from a resort in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, was found there. I forwarded the email to my own account and erased it from her sent items, planning covertly. A chilly, meticulous, flawless scheme took shape. I would allow her to act freely, I would enable Sela to record the event, and then I would escalate the conflict onto her domain. February 14th came. I procured flowers for her. I bid her farewell, offering a prayer. About me, I usually read Homer's Iliad. She looked directly at me and drove to the airport. She flew to Cabo, while I remained home, ordered pizza, exercised in my private gym until my muscles ached, channeling all my frustration into weightlifting. Over the weekend, Sela began sending files. The video quality was outstanding. He had a team there with long-range lenses. There were clips of them checking in, dining together, and entering their room. On the audio, they seemed to be on their balcony. Presumably, Sela had a parabolic microphone or a bug nearby, as Miriam's voice was heard. Ilias believes I am praying at this moment, so gullible he just writes checks. Caleb's voice could be heard. The man is dull. He doesn't understand you like I do. Does he suspect anything? Miriam replied, no, he's too engrossed in his blueprints. As long as the house is clean and she looks nice for church, he's content, a simple man, a simple man. I replayed that recording several times. He's a straightforward individual, I nodded. It was the first time I had expressed cheerfulness in weeks. I'll dismantle you, I remarked to the vacant space. On Sunday she reappeared, arriving home late, appearing fatigued. Spiritual conflicts are draining. She mentioned, I presume, did you make progress? She replied, I believe so. She said, I sense, refreshed, contented. I retorted, because Pastor Vance phoned. There's an urgent budget meeting with the elders on Tuesday evening. He requested your presence as you head the women's ministry. She wrinkled her brow. That sounds dull. He stressed it's vital, something about allocating funds for the upcoming fiscal year. I'll attend to discuss building maintenance concerns. She agreed. Tuesday evening arrived. I donned my best charcoal gray suit, white shirt, no tie, aiming to appear professional. Miriam chose a demure dress, playing her part as the virtuous spouse. We traveled separately. I need to visit a workplace first. Initially, I lied about my arrival. I found myself at the church 10 minutes prior, heading straight to Pastor Vance's office. Elias, he greeted. Good to see you. Everything okay? You sounded serious on the phone. I informed him that I required 5 minutes before others arrived and requested him to prepare himself. I placed an iPad on his desk, inquiring what it was. I responded, this is why the women's ministry budget seems to be draining so quickly, and this is why your worship leader has been so distracted. I played a brief clip depicting the balcony scene. Pastor Vance watched, his face turned red then gray. He appeared to age 10 years in a matter of seconds, muttering Miriam and Caleb. He questioned the duration, months perhaps, but I presented proof of the last 3 trips. Vance looked at me, asking what I wanted to do. I stated firmly that I desired them exposed. Vance hesitated, being a man of peace, but I interjected, reminding him of the scripture's instruction to expose deeds of darkness. I informed him that they were using his church, his reputation, and my money to mock God and their vows. If he did not act, I threatened to release this information to the entire congregation. However, if we addressed it during the elders' meeting, it would be official, recorded in the minutes, and legally binding. Vance looked at the iPad again, noting the pain and resolve in my eyes, and agreed softly. The meeting commenced at 7:00 p.m. with the 3 elders, Bob, James, and Verify present. Nice men, grandfathers. Miriam arrived a few minutes late, apologizing for traffic delays. She attempted to place her hand on my arm. I moved my arm to pick up my water glass. Bob was not an elder, but he was in the building practicing in the sanctuary. Vance opened with prayer, his voice quivering slightly, invoking God to bring truth to light. Bob brought up the budget discussion, expressing concern about a shortfall in the general fund, but the women's ministry expenses had increased by 40%. Miriam interjected, emphasizing the importance of retreats and the spiritual health of our women. I cleared my throat, drawing attention to the term breakthroughs, asking if that was now the name for a suite at the Ritz-Carlton. The room fell silent as she nervously laughed and claimed ignorance regarding my accusation. Ignoring her, I stood up and walked to the head of the table where the large monitor was connected. Looking directly at Miriam, I asked where she had been the previous weekend, despite her insistence that she was at Mount Zion. I pointed out inconsistencies with her alibi, citing GPS data from her car and the flight manifest for Flight 1492 to Cabo San Lucas. She became agitated, questioning why I was interrogating her. I informed her that this was a budget meeting and we were discussing the cost of lies. I connected my iPad, giving Vance the floor, informing him that I had further evidence against Miriam and Caleb. Caleb Thorne, she protested, rising from her seat. This is preposterous. I'm departing. Be seated, Miriam. Pastor Vance bellowed, not the soft shepherd tone, but one of authority. She froze, complying. The video played, 4K footage of them by the pool, kissing, intimate, stunning the elders. Bob's jaw dropped. James removed his glasses. Then the audio played, revealing Miriam hiding her face as the simple man comment was heard. She didn't weep, she hid. This morning, I filed for divorce, I stated calmly. My attorney possesses this footage. Our prenup dictates that in infidelity cases, the guilty spouse surrenders rights to the primary residence and alimony. This evidence confirms infidelity beyond a shadow of a doubt. Looking at the elders, I expressed my apologies for intruding upon your meeting, but she was exploiting the church, using its retreats as camouflage. I believed you should be informed. Looking at Miriam, she lifted her gaze, her mask of makeup smeared, her face radiated hate. You orchestrated this, she spat, you scoundrel. I retorted, Miriam, I merely switched on the lights. I picked up my iPad, I'm finished here. I departed, leaving the conference room. As I traversed the hallway, I heard the door open behind me. Pastor Vance instructed Bob to fetch Called from the sanctuary and bring him there immediately. I stepped into the cool night air, The quiet parking lot. I entered my car. I sat for a moment, my hands steady, heart rate normal. I felt as if the weight of the last 3 months, the burden of deceit, had vanished. I returned home, packed Miriam's belongings, not all, just enough for a week. I placed the suitcases on the porch. I changed the locks. I had already summoned the locksmith that morning to meet me there at 9 p.m. He was wrapping up when I arrived, all set, sir. In the narrative, Elia expressed gratitude, to which I replied. Miriam appeared an hour later, pounding on the door, shouting threats. I declined to open, instead communicating through the doorbell. She declared her possessions were on the porch, followed by a warning to stay away, contact my attorney. Eventually, she retreated and sought refuge at her mother's house. The aftermath ensued promptly. Cald was terminated the next day for trying to sue over wrongful dismissal, but his contract had an inflexible morality clause, leading him to leave town disgraced 2 weeks later. Miriam attempted to challenge the prenuptial agreement, hiring a ruthless attorney who argued the video was acquired unlawfully. However, Sela's legal acumen was apparent. The video was captured in public spaces such as pools and balconies visible from the beach, providing no privacy expectations. Consequently, her motion was dismissed due to the prenuptial agreement and lack of evidence. She received her car, which I had ceased payments on, necessitating refinancing or forfeiture, along with personal belongings. The church weathered the storm but respected my handling of the situation, as I avoided public mudslinging. Instead, I addressed it with leadership privately and preserved my dignity. It's been 6 months now, the divorce is final, and the house has a peaceful stillness. I've revamped the master bedroom, added new furniture and paint, transforming it into my personal sanctuary. I'm working tirelessly but also traveling extensively, visiting Italy recently on my own. I marveled at the architecture I have long admired, indulged in wine, socialized with locals, and learned a crucial lesson: trust is valuable, yet verification is indispensable. Strength isn't rooted in volume of voice, but the ability to dismantle obstacles without fuss. Initially seen as unsophisticated, she underestimated my intelligence, overlooking that I am an engineer, well-versed in recognizing structural flaws and effectively collapsing unsound structures without leaving a speck on my suit. That, gentlemen, is how you manage betrayal. Elia not only triumphed but safeguarded his future. If you appreciated this tale of strategic justice, please click like. Share your thoughts in the comments if you're experiencing or have experienced something similar. We read every single comment. Don't forget to subscribe for more tales of men standing their ground. Stay strong, stay smart, and see you in the next video. Elia utilized a forensic method called metadata correlation, correlating timestamp on physical receipts with GPS location data to scientifically invalidate her alibi. In professional investigations, 90% of evidence originates from these financial inconsistencies rather than catching the act itself. The takeaway: stories can be spun, but data points such as time, location, and expenditure never lie.